Well, hey everyone, and welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It's great to be with you here. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I hope that you're having a good Memorial Day weekend. I know that's coming up very soon, but people are starting to celebrate with barbecues and all kinds of stuff. And I know the weather hasn't been so great with that, unfortunately. But again, it's great to have you with me. If you've been here one time before, of course, or 100 times or many times, I want to say thank you and I want to say welcome back. And if it's your first time, of course, I want to say thank you. Really do appreciate you for being here, watching my show, or listening to it, and soaking up all this great knowledge. If you guys are thirsty or hungry or whatever, I've got some delicious OJ here, orange juice, Tropicana. Mm, good. Nice little energy boost there. All right. So without any further ado, guys, let's kick this show off. All right. Welcome, everyone. If I haven't said welcome to you enough, welcome to the Inspirations for Your Life show. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, keynote speaker, graduate student, passionate lifelong learner. And now I'm so grateful to be a published author. You know, guys, every week I explore ideas that help us think better, live better, and connect more deeply with people around us. Now, this week's master topic is belonging drives action. By the way, it's series 5 and it's show um, number 22. And yeah, this is an important thing. So, belonging drives action. And today, I begin with one of the most important starting points of all. What is that? Entry. What is entry? Entry is more than the moment someone walks into a room or through a door, or clicks a link or accepts an invitation. Entry is the emotional doorway. It is the first experience that tells a person whether they are safe, seen, and welcome. Before people commit, before they participate, before they open up, they first decide whether the space feels right. That is why entry matters so much. It shapes trust, lowers hesitation, and creates the conditions for real connection. Now, when entry is done well, people move forward with less resistance, sometimes none. When it's unclear, cold, or overly complicated, people often stop before they even begin. The beginning of any experience carries more power than most people realize. A strong beginning does not force people in, it helps them want to stay. That is the difference between pressure and invitation. So, between the noise and belongingness, between attention and the action that we take. Today's episode is about the kind of entry that creates comfort, confidence, and participation. I'm going to look at why the first impression matters, how a clear welcome changes behavior, and why people respond more openly when they feel the door is truly open. See, this is not just about events, communities, or conversations. It is about the way human beings respond to being invited into something that feels real, authentic, sincere. Entry shapes the entire experience. The first moment often sets the tone for everything that's about to follow. If the entry, for some reason, feels smooth, people are more likely to keep going through. If it feels even the slightest bit awkward or unclear or foggy or ambiguous, the energy just drops before the real experiences even have a chance to begin. People move when the door feels open. People move when the door feels open. And I think that's a point that a lot of people like they don't seem to understand. They don't realize what that means. But when I say the door is open, we're talking about this. We're talking about this emotionally, right? We're talking about this emotionally, and I think that's important to know, and we can understand like what it means or why it means this, right? I think that's a very important thing. But a lot of times people don't notice this. So our body notices this. So our body does notice it. And our nervous system will respond before what? Before we're aware of it. Okay? Before we're aware of it. So these are important things. And so people learn this. People move when the door feels open, not when the door feels closed, guys. A closed, or I'm going to say an uncertain door, can be a very, very big problem. A closed or uncertain door or opportunity creates hesitation, but people sense openness. And when they do, they naturally lean in. See, that small feeling of being welcomed can be the difference between interest and action. Too many people put pressure on others that, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. And it doesn't come across as low pressure because it's not, or no pressure. See, when we put pressure on something, things become harder for us. And in that token, they get more difficult for us because we just overwhelm ourselves. And that's the difference between interest and action. Interest is genuine probing of some questions. You get to know somebody, right? And action can sometimes be forceful. It can be manipulative, right? Entry, which is what we're talking about here today. Entry lowers resistance. Lowers resistance. And when it does this, well, we sometimes don't quite understand, but it's important. Most people, guys, are not resisting the idea itself. They're resisting uncertainty, confusion, ambiguity, or discomfort. See, a strong entry removes some of the pressure and makes the next step feel easier. Yeah. The first yes, guys, matters most. The first yes is not just agreement. It is a decision to trust the moment in the environment that we're in. Once someone says yes to entry, they become much more likely to say yes to what comes next. What is next? Next comes with something called new spaces. New spaces. And new spaces, guys, are pretty cool because new spaces will change our behavior fast. People often act differently depending on the environment they enter, a calm sense they have, a respectfulness, and an inviting space can shift their tone, posture, and willingness to participate almost immediately. That's something that it just kind of boggles me. But it's a big secret of life, a very big secret of life. So opening the circle invites momentum. When people feel included, something changes in them. They become more open, more relaxed, and more ready to engage. That sense of inclusion builds, well, its own inertia of motion. The first step is the hardest one, guys. Most barriers exist before action can begin. Once a person takes the first step, the rest often becomes easy, or I should say easier. Entry is where that initial challenge gets broken. Gets broken. And I think that's an important thing to realize. Okay. Good entry, guys, feels safe. Safety is one of the strongest signals a space can send. If people feel emotionally safe, they're more likely to speak, listen, connect without guarding themselves so tightly, being afraid of saying something or not saying something. A clear invitation beats any kind of pressure. Pressure can make people pull back. A clear, thoughtful invitation gives them room to decide freely, and that freedom often leads to a better response. Now, people act when they feel welcome. Belonging is powerful because it changes behavior from the inside out. When people feel that they matter, they are more willing to show up, contribute, and stay engaged. Yeah, that's important, guys. The right room creates confidence. Sometimes the space itself does some of the work. When a room feels right, people carry themselves differently and often become more willing to open up. Entry is where the trust starts to build and begin. Trust does not usually appear all at once. It starts with small signals: tone, clarity, a sense of warmth, and a demonstration of respect. Entry is that first place those signals are received. A simple ask can start a new path. Not every invitation needs to be complex. Sometimes one simple human ask is enough to help someone take a step they might not have taken on their own. First contact sets the tone. The way you meet someone, greet someone, or invite someone matters. First contact often stays in a person's memory longer than the details of the event itself. You can't undo a first impression. The threshold matters, guys. The threshold is the moment between the outside and the inside, between uncertainty and participation. That moment deserves care because it carries a lot of emotional weight. People need to reason to step in. Most people want clarity because, well, they're moving. And if the purpose is obvious, the benefit is clear, and the atmosphere feels good, they're much more likely to step forward. Entry can be soft and strong at the same time. Now, a good invitation does not have to be loud to be effective. It can be calm, confident, and welcoming all at once. Now, strength is important, and softness are not opposites. New belonging starts with one move. Belonging does not always begin with a grand gesture. Nope. Sometimes it begins with one simple response, one message, one arrival, one moment of courage that was exhibited. The best invitation feels human. People respond to sincerity. A real invitation feels thoughtful, personal, and grounded. It does not try too hard. And that makes it stronger. That makes it stronger, guys. And I think that's a lot of things that people don't realize. People just don't realize that. Open doors, guys. Create opportunity. Opportunity. When doors stay closed, chances just vanish. They disappear. When doors are open, new relationships, new ideas, and new energy can enter the room. Entry, ladies and gentlemen, is a form of generosity. All right. I know maybe you haven't heard of it that way before, but that's kind of what it is. Okay. That's kind of what it is. So welcoming someone is an act of giving. Did you know that? It says you matter here. You matter to me. And that simple message can change how a person feels about the entire experience that they're with, all because of that initial interaction they might have had with the host or maybe some people that were at the event before it even started. A warm welcome changes the whole dynamic and experience. And warmth has a way of making people, shall we say, relax And once they relax, they listen better. They connect more easily, and they participate more naturally. Now, this is important, ladies and gentlemen, one clear doorway beats 10 vague ideas. 10 vague ideas. Confusion slows people down. Clarity helps them move. If you want action, make the entrance simple, understandable, and easy to recognize. Now, the start decides the story. The start decides the story. The opening of any experience influences how people interpret the rest of it. So a positive start creates a better chance for a positive outcome. Entry gives people permission. Sometimes people are waiting to be invited before they feel allowed to participate. And that sounds crazy, right? That they're allowed to participate. And I think that confuses some people. Entry, guys, gives them that permission without any kind of pressure. So good entry will remove fear. Fear grows in uncertainty. And when the path is clear and the welcome is real, fear tends to soften and action becomes more possible. People remember how they were invited. The invitation itself often stays with them. A thoughtful welcome can make someone feel valued long before the main experience even begins. The first moment shapes the rest. What do I mean by that? I mean, you don't get a chance to make a second impression. It's sad, but it's our truth. The first moment shapes the rest. Early participation of any interaction affects people and how they interpret everything after. And that's why entry should never be treated as an afterthought. Never treat it as an afterthought. I think that's an important thing to understand. Never treat it as an afterthought. Because if you do, guys, you're going to find that things just don't work. All right? And they don't work because you're probably in some type of a loop. Okay? In some type of loop. And that loop is going to get you frustrated because you're never going to get out of the loop. Like in computer programming, we call it an endless loop. You know, if a user enters a value and that value can't get cleared properly, it keeps going to a loop, or a kind of condition gets hit because they enter some output that we didn't, let's say, foresee. Now the program gets stuck. I'll give you a per example. Individual resolve. If I enter, let's say, another character beside a number, it doesn't check that. It freezes. Have to wait about 30 or 40 seconds, and the program closes down. I have to reopen or close it down manually, right? And that happens a lot, but they've yet to fix that. So welcoming someone, guys, is a leadership move. It's a leadership move. Strong leadership is not just about direction. It is about creating conditions where others feel safe enough to join, to participate, and grow. And grow. That's important, guys. And grow. And grow. A lot of people forget that life is a constant thing where, people don't understand that. They don't understand a point that I want to talk to you right now about, and that's about every turn, guys. Every turn. Every turn. Every turn. Every turn. We have to notice something different happens. You know what that is? I'm going to tell you. That's the entry. That is the entry. And if we can understand that, life gets easier. Life gets easier. And I say that to you because when you understand this and you understand why something's working a certain way, you can appreciate. So entry turns interest into participation. Interest is only the beginning, and entry is what helps interest become action. And action is what creates that sense of belongingness. That sense of belongingness. And maybe people are fearful. That could be because of something that happened in the past, and they're replaying that. Okay. Entry is what helps interest become action. Action is what creates belongingness. As you think, ladies and gentlemen, about today's episode, I want you to remember this, okay? People do not just respond to what you offer. Let me say that again. People do not just respond to what you offer. They do, in fact, respond to how you make them feel when they arrive immediately. Entry is the first proof that a space is worth stepping into. That's the first point, guys. Yeah, entry is the first proof the space is worth stepping into. And when entry is done well, not manipulative, it creates the trust and the comfort that make belonging possible. Possible. And I think sometimes people go one way, but then they get stuck because they somehow either don't follow the process through, or they find that what they're doing doesn't work anymore. And I think that's the real thread, is that people are looking to take shortcuts. People think that belongingness happens overnight. It doesn't. It doesn't. But I know people want instant results, like with the toys we got here from the gift shop at one of the museums. We can realize that a model is not the same as the real thing. It might seem close, but it's not the real thing. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue building on this master topic by exploring how belonging moves from an invitation into a connection, and from connection into lasting action. These are steps, guys, that cannot be rushed. I don't care what you're doing. They cannot be rushed, or they will be a complete disaster. I do invite you right now to go and check out believemeachieve.com. Again, for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations, which you can look at 24 hours a day. So this is going to be a great master topic. We always have great master topics. And we always have great granular topics. Now, I've had people reaching out to me saying, hey, can I get on your show? So we are in the process of implementing an automated interview system to screen people. And then after that, we'll decide who we want to move to the next step. But I have not been taking any guests for a while. I've been very busy with school and other stuff. So there's a lot happening, guys. A lot. But I think the biggest thing is we've got to be aware of not only the things we hear, but we've got to be aware of the things we see, the things we can touch, the things we can smell. Because these parts of our body, they don't understand why they have so many tools, let's say in their arsenal. And they can't do anything because they can't figure out how to use the tool right. And if you can't figure out how to use the tool right, don't blame the tool manufacturer. Right? Blame the person who's trying to use the tool. They've given you instructions. It's not our fault that you're using your screwdriver like a hammer, okay? Or your, let's say hammer to screw a screw in, right? That's a very big problem, guys. So again, I invite you to check out believemeachieve.com. So what's on there? So I've got short form content. I have got long form content. I've got articles. I've got reels. And I've got so much more. But why this show exists is to explain to people that you can do the right thing. That's important, guys. You can actually make a difference. But the difference isn't going to be evident until you commit to take the action. I hope that all of you have a great night. And I hope that all of you understand that entry is something that happens autonomously. We don't try to control it. We don't try to manipulate it. Our body knows how to put us into entry mode. Our body knows how to connect. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or great rest of your evening. We'll continue our master topic more on the next Inspirations for Your Life. Have a great one, everyone, and be well.